Hello, this is Victor Uniform 2 Alpha Zulu Kilo, name is Kishore. In this video, I will review an amateur radio transceiver called the KV4P HT. So we will look at the unpacking of this HT. We'll look at the basic functionality, review a little bit about the PCB, and also how it can connect to your Android device, the Android application, and a brief recording of a QSO using this HT. This HT was ordered and delivered in the September-October timeframe of 2025, and at that time it was delivered in a bag of components like what you see here. It is named after the call sign KV4P of the inventor Vance Wagel in the US. So the pack contained an OTG cable with a USB-C on both ends, with a ferrite bead in the middle. There's two strips of Velcro which need to be attached to the rear of this HT and the mobile phone. This is a stub antenna. You can see the specifications. And there was one single page about how to program the HT, how to download the firmware, etc. So to mount the VHF module or the KV4P HT, first you need to attach or paste the 3M Velcro strips on the rear of your Android device, and you can peel off the red tape and then attach the KV4P HT itself. So this is how it would attach to the back of the phone or Android device, and you can then attach the OTG cable coming from there going into the OTG port of your mobile device or Android tab. So this way you can use the PTT button to activate the TX, and you also have an application, an Android application, which I will show you shortly, that can also be used to trigger the TX. So we will see that software part shortly in this video. So I have removed the PCB from the enclosure, and let's take a closer look. So here you can see the SMA port on the top left, and on the right side there's a PTT, small PTT button, which can be activated through this lever on the right. So by pressing it, it can push the PTT button, and you can then talk. Below that you can see, let me get rid of the reflections. Okay, so below that you can see the version of the board, 2.0. This is a fully assembled version. Before this, I believe the earlier versions, you had to buy the parts and mount them yourself. Below that, you can see the name of the creator, Vance Wagel, and he's called this the KV4P HT. Now let me turn the board around. So there's the SMA connector at the top. This is an SMA female connector. So whatever you need to attach, either as a pigtail that leads to a external antenna or a different antenna, you need to have a matching SMA pin on that antenna. So below that, we have the VHF module SA818, which has a frequency range of 134 to 174 megahertz, no airband, and this can output up to 1 watt. 1 watt, and has CTCS tones to activate any repeaters. It has the repeater modes with offsets, 8 level squelch, 8 adjustable volumes, and a pretty small size here that can fit on this board. Below that is the ESP32 room module, which attaches to the Android device. Could be a phone or a tab, through this OTG port at the bottom. So you can use this small connector with the toroid or the ferrite bead in the middle to connect to your Android device. So that's the overall layout here, and this does not come with a battery. The power for this module comes from your Android device. This is the stub antenna that came with the pack. So you can use this stub antenna directly on the SMA port, but if you have an external antenna maybe connected through a RG213 or a thicker cable having a PL259, I would recommend use this small pigtail adapter that would have the SO239 and on this side an SMA male. You could also use this kind of a adapter with an SMA male on one side and SO239 to connect your the coax. But then what would happen is the weight of the coax and the stiffness of the coax would put a lot of stress on the soldering for the SMA and can break the board or maybe loosen the soldering. So my recommendation is, if you're connecting it to an external antenna, use this kind of a pigtail adapter so that the stress or the weight of the cable doesn't come directly on the board. So this entire pack of course, let me point out that the pack does not come with this pigtail adapter. So the entire pack retails for about $40 to $42 on Amazon and about $26 on AliExpress. So you can purchase from whichever site you find to be more reliable. So to find the app for the KV4P HT, open your Play Store on your Android device and then search for KV4P HT, and you will find this particular application. And this is already installed, that's why it says uninstall. But if you're going in for a fresh installation, you can look at what's new. Inside the what's new note, you can understand more about this particular transceiver. And there is a little bit of a description on how it works. And at the bottom, you can see that this is version 1.9.9.3, updated recently in March, and it requires Android 8.0 or up. As far as I can see from the documentation, this application is available only in the Android OS, and it is not supported in Apple or any other OS. So you can see a bunch of app permissions. Well, these are, I think, required for the application, and you can turn them off if you're not using the application, so you can modify it whichever way you want. So this is a pretty easy app to use, and once you open the app, you can start accessing various functionalities of the KV4P HT. And in the subsequent part of this video, I'll show you how to use this app. So once you attach the KV4P HT to your Android device, this is the application that comes up. So right at the top, you can see welcome to KV4P HT. Below that, the S meter and a few memories. So before I go ahead, big shout out to old man Sanjeev from Singapore, 9 Victor 1 Golf Hotel, who was part of a discussion on KV4P. He went ahead and ordered a few and lent me one. So I'm using the KV4P HT piece that he gave me. So moving on, you can see some memories that I have put into the application. And on the top left, on the top right, sorry, you can see the settings. You can put your call sign there, the squelch levels, then the power, you can reduce the power, increase it, certain filters, accessibility, APRS, certain bandwidths, and firmware or application version. So you can play around with these, but the mic gain boost is something that is very critical for your voice to sound natural. So I have tried multiple settings, and what I found is the best the voice clarity came when I was using the inbuilt mic on the tab. If I were using earbuds, the voice was slightly very tinnish. It had more of the higher frequency, and the lower frequencies were kind of chopped. So that was the feedback I got from other hams who are hearing me on the air. So coming back to the main screen, here you can see the repeater memories. See, if I were to go here and say plus, then I can add the memory name and the group, the frequency, what is the offset direction, whether it is up or down, and then the tone, the CTCS's tones, and a few other advanced options for receive tone as well as transmit tones. and the offset values. So there's a bunch of these are the bunch of the parameters that you can change in this application. So at the bottom you can see that this app is now configured for voice, and you can see the microphone symbol. That is the software or application PTT. It works exactly the same way as the physical PTT that I had shown you earlier on. So you can press the mic button or the mic button on the application, and it will go into transmit mode. You can make it sticky, or you can make it a real PTT. And to the right of it, there is this APRS chat. I have not tried APRS, but if anybody is willing to try it out and mention in the comments, that will be great. So I have not had the chance to test the signal of this HT using an oscilloscope or a nano VNA, but I did find this particular web page on the GitHub site of KV4P.com. I will mention this URL in the description. You can also go and check it out. This image is for a test conducted on version 1.7 of the PCB by the author. But I did not find an equivalent test result for version 2.0, which is the one that I'm using right now. I can only assume that it has gotten better, or at least the same. On the air, this particular HT has performed quite well. I did get a few comments about the voice sounding a little tinnish in the beginning, but after adjusting the mic gain, things settled down. And in fact, I had a chance to conduct a morning VHF net as a net controller here in my local city, and it went quite well. So the net was for about 16 minutes, 16 minutes, and I was noticing the battery consumption. So on the tab, the battery consumption went from 80 to 72. So about 8% consumption over 16 minutes. And I would assume about 60% duty cycle for the HT, which is reasonably good.
VU3 Delta X-ray Alpha, VU2 Alpha Zulu Kilo. Namaskaram Anil Garu. A lovely copy through the repeater. I'm using an experimental VHF transceiver, so just trying it out. Go ahead, Anil Garu.
Can you directly copy me? Mic back to you with Alpha Zulu with Delta X-ray Alpha.
VU3 Delta X-ray Alpha, Anil Garu. A little difficult. I'm just getting used to the UI here. A little difficult to copy on the direct right now. I'm right now set for the repeater offset only, and the entire thing is being controlled through my Android tab. That is the information here, Anil Garu. Go ahead.
Wait Alpha Zulu Kilo with Delta X-ray Alpha. Otherwise, you can come to direct syntax mode over.
Yeah, Roger, Anil Garu. What is my signal report right now? Can you give me a critical report, please?
Wait Alpha Zulu Kilo with Delta X-ray Alpha. Sense-wise is 5.9, and also there is a background, some noise is there. There's a repeater or your radio, I don't know. But audio is a little bit low is there. Mic back to you with Alpha Zulu Kilo with Delta X-ray Alpha over.
Yeah, Roger, Anil Garu. Thanks for the critical report.
In summary, the KV4P HT is a fantastic piece of work by the inventor. And if you like software controls to operate your HT, you can use this as a primary HT for yourself. Otherwise, you can use this as a backup HT just in case you run out of power from the batteries in your primary HT and you need to get on the air. Otherwise, this could also be used for any POTA activities or IOTA activities. I will be posting more videos on portable operations, field days, and multiple DIY projects related to ham radio. So click on the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. 73 and enjoy the outdoors. Bye-bye.